Yeah. You get a lot of there's a lot of innovation happening at the moment.
I
In
saw
fact,
the
Didi put
runes
out,
thing. Yeah, the
dude, the
runes thing.
runes are fascinating.
I got one of those
Yeah, they are.
weird things. I don't know what it does, but I sent it to myself and now it's doing something. What is that shit? Leonidas send me some shit? I don't know what that is.
So there are two major sort of players, so to speak, at the moment. Your
A sick
first
or
is called
something.
Arsec. Yeah,
Yeah.
and this was airdropped out to how many? I think sort of 21,000 individuals, 21,000 wallets received this thing. And ultimately, it is a counter for a upcoming airdrop for a meta protocol called Runes. And it's effectively a more efficient way of handling UTXOs on Bitcoin. So this is going to open up an entire new industry, an entirely new sort of area within crypto that we haven't necessarily seen before on Bitcoin. And so Runes is the first one, and it was mysteriously airdropped out to people. You can then check a website and you'll see a number going up, and at some point that number will convert into runes after the halvening when this rune meta protocol has actually been launched. But then Leonidas was like, huh, this isn't that fair. There's more people in the space that should have gotten something like this, so let's make our own version. And so he's now doing 113,000 airdrops. In fact, Didi and I just donated to facilitate the airdrop to be able to get that thing pushed out. And that should be
That's
going
a
out
lot of
sometime in the next
Bitcoin.
couple of days. It wasn't cheap, but ultimately it's a way to reward everyone who's been in the space as a token of appreciation, as a thank you,
Hmm.
and yeah, as a way to sort of keep involved. And Didi obviously had been doing pretty well, and I don't know if you saw Blockout, which I think is probably the most complex piece of ordinal tech that exists to
Mhm.
date, built with AI as well, some very clever stuff. But you're seeing this technology to evolve so fast, and the mediums that people are now able to work with are getting more complex, and the tools that you can use are getting more sophisticated. It's been an absolute whirlwind these past few weeks seeing what's happening.
Yeah, well, you guys,
I've noticed it on my crypto list that the list is speeding up, the activity is happening.
Definitely
I
separate the Bitcoin guys from all the other
I'm
guys. Trust me.
Yeah, I do need to go and do that. Hopefully, Grok gets to the place
I
where he can
I
where
think
it can
attributes good.
help me manage my lists and split them up into different lists and stuff like that. The AI should be much when LLM based complex systems come into being. They should be much more helpful than the systems have been in the
Well, I just
past.
want AI, local AI on my computer that's not connected to the internet, but it just does everything I expect it to do without me having to think about it. That's what I'm looking forward to. We'll see that in the next couple of years, I reckon.
Small models too that can run on your watch and better compute. I think at some point we'll hit a barrier for the compute. That's going to happen very soon. It's going to be a kind of like a. It's going to be a weird time, especially for people who build a lot. That's why Sam Altman's asking for 7 trillion. He just wants all the chips because he needs all the chips because the wall has been hit. It doesn't get any better than this as far as I'm aware. You'll have to wait for probably something to catch up, probably a new thing. I don't know. But if you want to build something, you got to build it now with the limited resources that you have on hand, right? I think it's
We can dream of a world where every car has an advanced computer
yes,
in it.
but you got to
They
train it.
don't yet. Okay, a Tesla just drove up, but most cars don't have this. Right? Every car should have it. Now you could argue Tesla will be every car someday, but they'll be competitors. But every car needs a chip that really understands the world it's in. Look at Elon's posts in the past week. He talks about world AI and is bringing our attention to his teams.
And this is why I'm so bullish
Adrian
on.
got a taste of it tonight. I understand. Adrian, any more insights of what Elon said tonight about what Grok in the future will do?
Still kind of fresh in my head. Um, yeah, I can't really recall much. Nothing that really stood out to me quite a bit. Did anyone else capture anything that was really relevant? I think it was kind of chaotic. Meta, what do you think? I think you listened to it.
I think the interesting comment, which I'm not sure if I agree with it yet, that I need to think about more, is the idea that each progressive simulation has to build a more complex simulator to simulate the prior simulation. So his idea was if you unroll all the simulations down, you get to a single bit. I'm I'm not quite sure if I buy that yet.
Yeah, that's
I met a chip designer who says a protein stores a lot of data, single cells, so maybe it's a cell.
No, that's
can
not
you
the same because
Okay.
that involves.
'Cause that's how I'm thinking. I'm like, someday that computer's gonna turn
Yeah, but
biological.
that protein doesn't work without all the gravitational constants and the universal constants and all the other stuff. So you can think of that like the data part of the program, but there's still like code and metadata and rules outside of the just the code.
okay, break it down for me. So you mentioned something interesting where you disagreed with his assessment. What part specifically? Can you break it
Sure.
down in an iterative way?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with the claim that in order to simulate something, the simulator must be more complex than the thing that you're simulating. It could be the case, but my assumption is that it may be possible to build things that can simulate something without fully understanding the thing it's simulating. And
Would it be
therefore,
simulating in real time? Or
correct.
because I can imagine something less powerful would be able to simulate something more complex, but not as quickly.
No, I don't think. I think speed is a factor only if you think of like temporal stuff. The time dimension is just one of the variables in our simulation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
Kind of like a decay of energy. We like to interpret it as decay, right? But like anything that just time is, it's like a kind of window that sits still as everything else passes it by, because like energy just transitions from one state to another over various many different states slowly up until the point where it just literally stops moving, right? Because it just passed us by. It's like, is that accurate?
Yeah, yeah. I think an easier way to think of it is like Planck's constants. If you think of like the smallest thing we can observe, it shifts over time, but we do know like for like uh electric like energy, there's like a particular pulse. We've never observed a smaller pulse than that, and that's where Planck's constant comes from. Well, if you think about like a simulator running on a particular, let's just go with CPU for now, or a chip, its clock speed of the chip is the base unit of time in our observable world. But if you look at it from the relative world of something running on that chip, from one clock cycle to another clock cycle is contiguous, right? It's not discrete. So let's say you're running a simulation on the clock in a virtual machine, then you write it to disk, you pause for the evening, you come back, you load it back up, and you continue running it. Does From the perspective of the virtual machine, there was no pause. So as a result, you could theoretically pause your virtual machine, go offline, do all the computation you need to do, spend a week on it, come back, get the results of that, and stick it into your virtual machine, and the virtual machine would know no better.
That makes sense, actually. I like it. Never thought about it this way.
Interesting. That's actually kind of calls back to something where you probably want time to. So this is kind of like this is kind of like, okay, imagine, I would think time and space, I mean, the way that reality works is in fact so deterministic. Think of it like a Minecraft world, right? What makes it work, right? You have in-game time, and you also have a seed that then determines what this world will look like. Each seed is unique, but if you were to say copy the seed and paste it into just another world generator, it will give you the exact same world the exact same way always, right? So what if the universe functioned in a similar fashion, that basically it's just like a Minecraft world, with the addition, of course, that time is one of those functions where it just simply generates accordingly. Because there are some games, for instance, that
It is a Minecraft world. The voxels are very small
yes, like
compared to Minecraft. That's
blank
all.
lengths of
That's the only
crystal
difference.
particles. I don't know, something
Yeah,
like that.
why we have seeds is so that when we're debugging, it's easy to debug by having some ability to say, yes, everything is random, but it's this particular flavor of random because we started at this seed and we were this many numbers down on the seed.
Yeah. By the way,
What's the iteration cycle
yo, Elon, what's happening?
on
Hello,
Hi there.
you're back. You did not done shaking up the simulation.
I was just telling a friend that there's someone who sounds just like me, and they said, "Is that Elon Ma?" And I was like, "No, there's someone
Oh
else
God.
who's not from China who sounds just like me." But I think Elon Ma doesn't sound quite like me. You know, he's. But I mean, I still don't know if that guy's real. Honestly, I mean, it might be. Um, but
Ivan,
does anyone know if
I'm
he's
staying
real?
at the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, and I'm staying on floor 69. And you put your name next to the number 69 in my brain. So congrats on doing that.
Yes, I think I've done more to. I might have done more to popularize 420 than anyone else as well.
I was at the
Nice.
DM. I was at the DMV today, and I locked down a number, and it was one of those license plate numbers. So yeah. Well, at
What
least it's
420?
the. Yeah, I got it.
You got a license plate that says 420? What are the odds
Yes.
of that?
I got one. No, I just went there. I said, I can customize it, right? I can customize it to be anything I want,
Oh,
any
okay. So you
characters,
chose it.
numbers, whatever. And so I
Okay.
took those, and they looked at me all funny. I said, dude, once this one gets through, they're gonna have a lot of laughter at the office. So, yeah, I don't know. I really
Elon,
couldn't
if you
contain it.
walk into a casino with your AI team, what are you thinking? How do you think when you walk through a casino with your AI team?
Me? Wait.
Yeah.
I don't walk through casinos with my AI team.
If you did, how would you think it through? What would you be thinking through? How would you be
Through a
what would you be
casino.
thinking is the future? Yeah, but walk into a casino. What's going through your mind if you're like dreaming about how the future should work?
Well, I mean, I don't really gamble because I just feel like you know, there's a reason that they can pay for this fancy hotel, and that's not because the people who gamble win. Um, so I don't. I guess I don't really. I don't gamble.
Do you cut the
I
world
try not to
up
gamble when
into
the odds are against
voxels?
me.
Do you but do you think about how you might help a human being navigate through that system in the future?
Navigate through a casino?
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to help people navigate through a
Who
casino.
are addicted to gambling or
Teach them
what?
how. Well, you could addict
He's
them to gambling. That's
he's
true.
living in the realm of the Apple Vision Pro. It's quite the psyop. It's quite the psyop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to ask you, how are your monkeys doing? If you can divulge that information,
The
I
monkeys are
had to
doing
ask.
great. The monkeys
Yeah,
are doing great. I mean, important to note, no monkey has ever died as a result of a Neuralink implant.
dude, that's next level.
Um, yes,
Can they
I mean,
find
so
the
do you
Apple
reckon
Vision?
the
will Neuralinks?
the government inspector, because if you have a monkey facility, you're required to have inspections, and the government inspector, which really is from the USDA, I believe, which are normally associated with beef, but at the supermarket. But anyway, the USDA inspector said that it was the nicest monkey enclosure she'd ever seen in her entire career. So, which I'm not sure the monkeys entirely appreciate because I think that some of it might be just us projecting what we would like on a monkey enclosure. But um, I would put our monkey enclosure. I'd say we treat them better than anyone does. Um, they seem quite happy, and Pager, who had the implant to play Pong, is still going strong. And by the way, monkeys love playing video games and eating snacks, just like humans. Basically, we haven't progressed
Yes.
that far. Um, so, in fact, if you see the monkey mind Pong video from a few years ago, you will notice that that pager is not constrained in any way. He's standing on the branch. He's not like, you know, strapped to the branch. He's just sitting on the branch, and he's playing mind pong while sipping on a smoothie, which is, like I said, pretty much like what humans do. And in fact, if you take his video game away, he gets kind of upset about it. Um, and he even has
Is it,
preferences as to what
What
game he plays. So he
I
likes
was going to
sitting
say,
in.
is it
what
just
what
Pong?
is neural? How does Neuralink communicate with us? What's the first 1 minute when somebody wakes up and they have a Neuralink? What's that like?
Well, Neuralinks, we have well, obviously it's hard to talk to monkeys. You have to. That's why we have our first human implant who's doing quite well. Seems to be recovering with no complications, and is well, like I said, we'll do. If he's up for it, we'll do maybe do a live bidding with him. He's a quadriplegic who, a young guy, and he can control. It's pretty wild. He can control the mouse cursor on the screen just by thinking. So just sort of telepathy, essentially. Um, and you can imagine it'd be quite something if, say, he could talk or type as fast as a normal human or just someone with functioning fingers. And we think we'll be able to get to a data rate that probably exceeds what how fast somebody could speak or type. So so far so good. It's just our first one, so and there's quite a few differences between humans and monkeys, but it's working so far.
It's so exciting. Thank you for doing that, Calvin.
Every
Absolutely.
time.
So this one's really just reading output from the motor cortex. Um, so you sort of think about moving your in this case sort of right wrist, kind of like how you'd move a mouse or something like that. In fact, really very similar. And then we read that signal and translate that to a mouse movement. Um, the basic principles are it's really not that complicated. It's like a Fitbit or like an Apple Watch or something um, that is takes the place of a roughly 1 inch diameter piece of skull, and it just sort of fits. You take out a little chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in its place, and then read the signals. Um, so,
What percentage can be done from outside the skull, not non-invasive?
um, well, you'd need first of all you need a very big apparatus. To the best of my knowledge,
Like a hat?
more than a hat. I mean, you can think of the brain as a very complex factory, and well, how much can you learn about a factory by putting a stethoscope on the wall? I mean, you can learn a few things, but you you
Yeah.
can't learn it's hard. You're not going to understand the details of what's going on in the factory just by putting a stethoscope on your factory wall. That's essentially what the other devices are like. Um, and it's a bit more than that because if you look at sort of an fMRI machine, it's gigantic. This is enormous magnet thing going around your head with cryogenically cooled magnets. It's not something you can just have at your house. Um, whereas the Neuralink is if especially if like so the hair grows back. Well, the hair will grow back. You wouldn't even know that he has it. Like you could somebody could have a Neuralink, um, and you wouldn't even know. I mean, even if they're bald, there would just be a little scar. That's all. Um,
What kind of advantage would a human being who has a Neuralink have over others?
well, right now I wouldn't say much of an advantage because it's just an early phase device, and it's really meant. That's why we're providing it to people who have uh, a significant disability. So basically, where the reward is high, because the risk is not zero with the new device. So we want to therefore have the highest possible gain, given that the risk is not is still, material. There's still some significant risk for an early device. And then this device we plan to do is in the visual cortex. So even if somebody has lost their optic nerve or lost both eyes, they can still see. Now, this is a version 1 device, so we're talking about Atari level graphics, not 4K. But over time, it can be, I think, a resolution equal to or greater than what humans can see.
So where would you see this technology evolving to in 20 years? Because you said the tipping point for me, which is when I can type faster with my mind than I can with a mouse and a keyboard, then I'm absolutely going to be using that technology. And I think that's going to be the same for a lot of people. So in 10 years, 20 years, at what point do you see this sort of being widely adopted, not as something that can help you sort of improve your quality of life, but something as almost like a lifestyle benefit?
Well, actually, I think it's actually not that hard to improve the output speed of fingers, because or voice if you think out what is the data rate for speaking or typing, especially if you're speaking and typing with two thumbs, you really have quite a low data rate. Talking about I don't know, in the tens of bits per second, basically, best case. If you're doing 10-finger typing, maybe it's a few hundred bits per second. So it's not that high a bar, is what I'm saying. And it's probably something that I'd say less than 5 years you could exceed what the fastest output that a human can do using 10-finger typing. Just because it's actually we are output bound. Our output is very slow as humans. We put a lot of our thinking goes into compressing complex concepts into a small number of output syllables or letters. So, really, I'm saying it's like a fairly easy thing to exceed. The things get a lot more complicated if you want to do intelligence augmentation or retain, do a whole brain interface for retaining memories. We need to be on, like, I don't know, Neuralink version 5 or 6 or something like that. And if we do a new version every, say, 2 years, then say version 5 or 6 would be 10 or 12 years from now. But at
And
that
so what
point,
version would you have?
Sorry?
What version would you use?
Maybe 5. Certainly not sooner than 3, I think. It would also need to be approved by the regulatory authorities for situations where someone doesn't necessarily have a disability and it's actually an enhancement. So obviously the risk, if you're simply seeking to enhance versus the gain to risk ratio has got to make sense. So if the gain is simply enhancement of normal abilities, you'd want the risk to be extremely low. Both Neuralink would want that, as well as I'm sure the regulators would want that. But yeah, eventually things start to really get into deep sci-fi, making deep sci-fi real, where you could, at some point in the future, upload all of your memories and essentially keep up a backup of yourself. And there's been various science fiction books that have explored this idea.
So to upload your memories, you have to be able to download them again. So do you think that's also going to be as possible as being able to upload your memories somewhere?
Well, you could certainly download them into a robot. That'd be quite straightforward. Or at least easier than trying to modify a human brain and get the exact right synaptic connections. But I think modifying human brain. I think if you like could use something. Forget what the novel is called, but there's a novel they made a show of it too, where you could upload your brain into different bodies. It's pretty. Sorry.
I think it was called Husk.
It's a different name that I'm thinking of. But you could potentially it would be harder because you'd have to say grow the brain to adult size while not making synaptic connections that would interfere with the imprint of whatever humans synaptic connections you want to place there. So I think I don't currently I can't think of a way to do that right now, at least. Maybe in the future. And I think it does take a while to develop a full body clone. The simply cell replication alone takes quite a while. We start off with one cell and we end up with somewhere between 30 and 40 trillion cells. So you think that's just a lot of cell division that needs to happen. And you can't have it. Yeah, I think. Anyway, I can't quite think of a way to say upload your brain to another sort of clone of yourself. I don't know how to do that. I can't see a way to do that. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I can't see a way to do that. But you said, well, upload it to a robot humanoid. That obviously can be done since it's in a computer already. Now, would you still be yourself? Well, not exactly, but then are we the same person that we were a year ago? We're not the same person we were a year ago. In fact, every day you wake up, you're a little bit different. So, ultimately the goal of Neuralink, besides solving, various brain functions, is ultimately the goal is AI symbiosis, where even if you can simply increase the input-output rate of the brain, and perhaps use less cognitive capacity for compression, decompression, then you could at least communicate with the AI a lot faster. Maybe 1,000 times faster. So I'm not saying this is a sure thing. It's kind of a, Hail Mary, or let's give it a shot. And
Feels
at the
more
rate
like
that,
feels more like a if you can't beat him, join him type of thing, or like trying to establish a relationship with, this. You've described this, I think, in a TED talk once. That essentially the way you see it is it's like a three-layer problem, where at the base layer you have your limbic system that essentially just gives emission to the second layer, which is like your intelligent functions and whatever else, your consciousness, whatever you want to think of it as. And then on top of that, you have something like, say, the computer, the AI, that you then put into your brain, right?
yes, exactly. And we already are a three-layer system. We have the limbic system, the instincts, the cortex, sort of planning, and then we have a tertiary digital layer in the form of our phone and computers. But we're I/O bound between this, especially between the cortex and the computer or phone. So we already are cyborgs. Your phone is an extension of yourself, and if you were to sort of forget your phone, you have this sort of missing limb syndrome where you're like, where did my phone go? Um,
If you see the
so,
internet go out, that's quite traumatizing.
yeah, I actually had sort of an odd semi-nightmare once of that I was at a party in a strange city, and someone else had accidentally taken my phone, and I had someone else's phone, and I couldn't contact anyone because I didn't know anyone's number. and then the people at the party were all trying to help me call someone, but I didn't know who to call. Or I didn't know how to call them because I didn't have their phone number.
Wow.
And I think this must happen to people from time to time where the phone conks out or they have the wrong phone and they're stuck at a party, and now what do they do? Well, they sort it out eventually, but it's not that easy to actually, like, you can't like call an Uber or call a friend because unless you know the number.
They're all just like
I
icons on the
remember
screen
my
now.
best friend's phone number from elementary school because I called it on a rotary phone so many times. Do you have anything like that in your past that you can remember that phone number, but you can't remember your best friend's phone number?
I remember my my mom's phone number from Toronto, but that's not very useful. So that was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So, well, I just joined out of. I was just kind of curious. I was just gonna play the. I thought this was a recording at first, so I was just playing this for a friend just to sort of show that Adrian sounds like me. So I'll sign off now. Good talking with everyone.
Hey, thanks for coming
Thanks,
on.
Elon.
Thanks, Elon.
Love,
All right,
We
bye.
love you.
Love you.
Have a nice evening.
love.
Good night, man.
Night,
Thanks.
whenever it is.
Adrian, I don't know about you, but that's awesome.
Wow.
Oh my fucking god!
I'm
Holy
sitting in the
crap!
lobby of a
Wow.
fucking Las
Wow.
Vegas
It just
hotel,
followed me.
and that's crazy.
Wow.
I love it how he's showing his friends this.
Oh my god!
Hold on. Does that mean Elon accidentally joined the space when he was trying to play a recording? There's a UI glitch somewhere.
I don't know what to say
It
anymore.
might have looked like a recording, you know?
Yeah, just casual conversation.
Because has this show even stopped since his first time
It
on the show?
crashed a bunch of times in between. Yeah, this is the second
Ah,
iteration. It's actually the third iteration. Yes, I'm gonna need some time to process one. Wow!
I think he was talking about the show Altered Carbon, by the way.
what I
Holy
find
shit!
very interesting is I want to know more about Neuralink. I wish he would. I thought that was really interesting.
Adrian, were you recording the spaces?
No, but I think my my man
Oh,
over here, Blythe, is recording it.
Yeah, I recorded it.
oh,
Jesus
good,
Christ!
because I didn't see the record button up
Yeah, I
there.
got it.
That's why I was
He's the
DMing
media
you.
guy.
Yeah. Whew.
It's pretty cool to
Well,
be able
Yeah,
to
I
just
got your
pick his
back.
brains about Neuralink. Like that's I've had questions about that for fucking ages, and just be able to sort of ask Elon straight up. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. Got to take the
Is this
shot.
real? Is this real?
Is it? No, it's not real, man. I'm sitting in a Vegas hotel lobby talking to all you people, and then
Yeah.
I don't know, weird shit's happening.
The simulation feels very real, right?
You know. Well, I don't know. Vegas is not.
Oh man, my brain
There's
hurts, but
nothing
it's
real.
awesome.
There's nothing real in Vegas. I mean, if you think about
Yeah.
it, I've been here when it was
So,
real.
when would you
It's
guys get
tempered,
Neuralink?
and
What
it's not
version?
tempered anymore.
What version would you all be willing to get Neuralink?
It depends on your context.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
I can
can.
hear you.
Yes, we can.
Assuming you didn't need it,
I'm
but assuming
trying
it
it on
was
Apple
something you
Vision right
wanted.
now.
I'd go for first. I'd take the first one.
Ooh, that's brave. Maybe third, I think. Second
You're
or third.
eager. You're an eager first
Hey,
adopter. Ayo, Beth Jesus, we got the. This is something I want. Beth does it.
It
Does
would
Jeff follow
improve
you?
your life. It would
Yeah, Jeff
improve
follows
your
me.
life.
Yeah.
That's nice. Full recursion there.
Yeah, he was actually
That's
the
perfect.
first like big account that followed me after the Elon was much later
Yeah.
trying to collect them all, So hey, Twitter Spaces on Apple Vision's pretty cool. Doing it
Is
right
that
now.
floating around anywhere? Like,
Yeah,
what are
you
you
guys
seeing
are
right now?
floating.
Oh, okay.
There's about a, like 15-foot screen that's like a Safari window running Twitter Spaces, and I'm talking to you all. It's pretty cool.
Does
Yeah.
it look like you're on a Safari? Because that would be awesome.
Well, I haven't installed that many apps. I just opened it yesterday. So I'm just running Twitter and Safari, but I'll figure out how to get the apps loaded and stuff soon. But yeah, I didn't want to test my setup with Elon. I feel like that's a high stakes conversation. I just caught the end of that convo. It seemed like it was pretty cool. I mean, the best way to get people to speak a lot is like late night. So it seems like it was a good time. How'd you set this up? Is it because of all the like Reddit's, threads conspiracy that you're Elon and stuff, and then he wanted to do a space for the memes, or how did this space end up getting together?
Honestly, I mean, I chilled out in the space it was in that was hosted by Catherine. Amazing, by the way. And then that just kind of happened. We had a conversation afterwards. He popped in. We asked him some questions, and stuff like this. It just happened. And I guess it perplexes his mind enough that he came back and he just took a look at what's happening. So
It's a good
that's what
meme.
happened.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's just hearing a doppelganger of his voice.
What the fuck am I gonna do tomorrow? It's gonna be weird walking into work tomorrow.
So, Adrian, no, I called that you'd be talking to him. Now you gotta check your signal. Tomorrow we gotta talk.
Yes.
Dude, Lincoln,
Okay.
I want you to predict something positive for me, man. Bring it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly, this
So has anyone jailbroken
wow.
the Vision Pro yet, Robert, that you know of?
I know someone who has the source code, but I'm not telling.
What do you mean jailbroken? Well, maybe I could call my buddy George Hotz and see what he can do. No, he's
Yeah,
busy.
get George on it.
He'll know something.
George,
Yeah.
He's busy.
Fun
He's
fact
busy.
about
Also, he's probably like banned from trying to hack devices forever. At least from Sony,
I got
right?
Yeah.
I got a fun fact about George Hotz. So this is back in 2015. We're building a headset with NVIDIA and with Valve, a VR headset. And I had low persistence had just been shown off. And low persistence is some clever tech where you flash on and off OLED pixels to reduce motion blur. And it was something the world had seen, and I needed to get working on my headset. And my Swedish engineers, who were great, ex-Sony Ericsson, spent maybe 6 months trying to get this working and failed. Couldn't get it up and running in time. And I was like, there's one person out there who would be able to do this as a Geohot. And so I managed to get through to him and convinced him to come down and stay with me for E3. And he got down 2 days before the conference starts, walked in the front door, saw my headset, and said, oh, this is a headset, can I try it out? I said, yes, of course. Puts it on, he's like, this is a fucking awful persistence problem. You're not going to show this off to anyone, are you? I said, unfortunately, yeah, the conference starts in a couple of days. And he's like, right, give me your computer, give me the headset. And he fucking sits down, and 45 minutes later, he cracks out low persistence drivers, sends them over to my engineers, and got them flashed and working. The dude is an absolute beast when it comes to this stuff. So, I don't know if he would be jailbreaking. He would certainly be the person to ask. But I don't know. I just have a sneaking suspicion there's a new guard of jailbreakers who are sort of rising. And we'll probably be focusing on the Vision Pro as a way to set their name. So I'm curious if anyone had heard any rumors of that development.
Yeah, probably the next generation has a lot of, there's opportunity for glory and a way to make a name for themselves. George has already proven himself to be quite the hacker. I think these days he's trying to solve compute for AI, but no, I haven't been really paying attention to hackers in the Vision Pro space, but it definitely feels very locked down. I think like if your account is not based in the US right now, you can't even install any app, so it's like pretty brutal. Yeah. Desperately, very much needed.
There's only one store that I've been able to find. You have to turn on WebXR in Safari if you want to go to the WebXR, which is the freedom community, i.e., adult community, art community. Anybody who wants to do something a little racier than corporations.
Jesus Christ, my phone
there.
feels like it's under a DDoS attack. It's like so many notifications coming
Yeah,
in. It's
dude,
crazy.
I bet.
You got a lot of new followers?
I need to tweak the notification settings or something. There's literally no way. I can't click on anything. Like, the search fields are usually where the notifications come in. It's impossible now. That is not clickable anymore. That's not good.
You're at 53.7 now.
Wow.
You're in the matrix, Adrian. You're in the main line.
Whoa, this is crazy.
This is
Man,
crazy
my head
when we
hurts from
have to
all
look at
this.
your profile to tell you what's on it because you can't get to your phone.
Yeah. I saw some
Yeah.
I saw some requests and shit. Oh man, I'm sorry, I couldn't get to anyone. There's like there's a lot of things. My God, I don't know if Periscope is broken. Hang on, I'll see if we can get some people up.
When Elon shows up, he's bending the matrix because a lot of people follow him.
Yeah,
And
it's such a
so
massive
he
influx
breaks in.
of traffic to
Yeah,
spaces that it's not
nuts.
used to handling that kind of capacity all at one time.
And his tech team was sleeping. He told us that he came here by accident. So his tech teams weren't awake. It's like,
In Catherine's space, the request button wouldn't even work. All the people in the back channels press the button, press, and it wouldn't work.
Periscope has a few issues in that regard. It's like if you subject Periscope to a shit ton of info, it starts just destroying itself. I'm not sure if there's a better alternative for this. Doesn't seem to be one. Or I mean, maybe there is, but you kind of need something like Periscope, right? Because I mean, look at the way it functions. I'm not sure if I'm getting this correct, but isn't just Periscope like imagine it in terms of packet flow? That isn't just Periscope. The packet flow kind of like divided and priority given to some people who have the most.
Would you?
Kind of, but I think that the main issue with capacity, traffic management, and capacity on spaces is that they're running the traffic through the platform. It's not separate, and it should be. These should be on separate dedicated servers, and that would fix all of the problems.
Wait, they're running Periscope, which is a separate. Well, obviously Periscope is separate from the platform, but they're running it on the same server that they run X on.
Just that they run X on. Yeah, everything is routed through this platform. That's
How the
why
fuck do you know
we
that?
have, because I have a wireless networking background and have built
Nice.
decentralized networks before. It just explains a whole lot of the traffic issues. Also, they're working on the old Twitter architecture, which didn't really build out audio spaces with intention. So they definitely did not separate the traffic management. It's why, yeah, it really is the best explanation for everything that happens in here. So if they just moved traffic routing for audio spaces to dedicated servers, it should handle a lot of the issues.
Would you say that Clubhouse did a better job of routing traffic? And do these issues largely only occur when it's global traffic, or is it also regional?
I wasn't on Clubhouse, so I can't speak to how their traffic was managed, but it seems like they were closed servers. I actually think you would spin up virtual servers for each room hosted, which makes a big difference too. Yeah, it's a shame I couldn't get up because I really wanted to talk to him about some solutions on how to better manage spaces traffic without disrupting the existing architecture too much.
Yeah. I'll kind of go bring up some people. Oh God, there's going to be a lot of questions. The funny thing is,
I'll pop down, Adrian, because I have to go up to the room.
okay,
So,
cool, man. Yeah,
love. It was wow.
thanks, man.
How do you go to sleep? I think I gotta go and hit the strip.
Dude, I don't know what I'm.
You gotta go
I'm
listen.
too exhausted to party, but also I am partying. I'm like excited and shit. And I'm just gonna. I mean, it changes a few things, sure, but I mean, I'm still gonna continue trying to create as much value as possible. Like this doesn't just mean that this is the end. It's just
No.
more cool shit. You know, being able to do more cool shit.
Adrian,
I
I just
mean,
want to say
wow.
congratulations. Huge follow.
Thanks.
Yeah, Elon followed you, man. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats. That's nuts.
And I think you had the world's first. You had the world's first double Elon because Elon joined you once, left, and then joined you again, all in basically the same show.
Yeah, this is such a trip.
See, that's how you improve the second one, and now you need a bigger dream.
It's
Come on, see, your dreams are coming true by the
well,
hour.
now I know. Well, now I know the next thing. The next thing is definitely creating financial stability for where I'm at right now. Then kids. That's the next. That's the next big thing. That's it. Like there are hardly. I think beyond kids, there's hardly anything that goes bigger than that, except for grandkids, probably, because you will get old. They will get old. You know.
Depends
It's
on if you can get to a point in the simulation where we just get rid of the aging variables.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to actually bring that to him, but it's like I made this metaphor. The irony. I made this metaphor and saying, well, what happened in today's world? You take the chip and you put it in the brain. In the world of tomorrow, well, I'd say probably the very, very far-fetched world of tomorrow, you take the brain and put it in the chip. You know what I mean? You take the actual brain itself, because I mean, the real weakness is the body, more or less. I think the brain itself could actually be sustained for quite a longer period of time than the actual body itself, right? Because I think the last thing that dies is always the brain, and the reason why the brain dies is because of failing bodily functions, is it not? So
I think the granularity, I wanted to, he kind of answered one of the questions I wanted to ask, and then I didn't ask the follow-up, but like, you know how the sensors are in the motor cortex, right? So there's going to be a cloud of neuron activity, and the sensors pick up that cloud. They're not picking up each individual neuron, let alone the chemical states around it. So I think the issue with copying a mind into a chip is going to be the resolution that you get. And so the question is the loss of resolution significant enough that it's not really you anymore? It's kind of like the Android question we were talking about yesterday. The thought
yeah.
experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm a little absent. I'm a little sidetracked. Yeah, it's a lot of
It's
information.
understandable.
Yeah, this is you know that I'm not sure if anyone's like watched at least the third movie of The Matrix. There's the ending scene where Neo makes peace with the machines, and then there was no more war after that. You could put down the electrical device on the floor, and you could walk out and look at it as the machines would dissipate instead of eliminating them at their last stand. And Morpheus he looked at this and said, "Is this real?" That's what I feel like right now. Is this real? Is
Same.
it real? Yeah,
Depends on how you define real, Adrian.
exactly. Yeah. Even if it's that's also something I noticed in that movie, because the way I like to look at that movie is the ultimate simulation being one that's made up of multiple layers, right? You'd have one in which humans at base reality are satisfied with how they live, and then the most disruptive of minds would obviously disrupt the simple simulation and wish to escape somehow, right? There are these types of minds, and then they basically get thrust into something that they think is the real world, which is so harsh and so difficult to live in, that they don't ask any questions beyond that, because like Agent Smith said before he got corrupted, humans define their life through suffering. I'd say it's probably true, but I think that humans define their life through suffering conquered, or suffering beaten, rather. It's like, why is anything worth fighting for? Well, the payoff, right at the end, you continue fighting knowing that the payoff is good, right? Like survival somehow. I don't know.
To play devil's advocate again, in theory, even if it's not something that can be beaten over time, because our brains are relativistic machines, the thing that you try to beat gets lesser and lesser. So even people who are in very harsh circumstances find ways to be exceedingly happy in accomplishing smaller things. So like if the best thing that's ever happened to you is, finding a bunch of food and you're extremely happy, and the best thing that's ever happened to someone else is that they flew in a private jet next to a celebrity. The question is, in those two minds, is there a difference in the dopamine release? Or is it just like this is the best thing in their life that's ever happened so far? So they're both experiencing the same amount of joy. It's just different stimulus.
Yeah. You just gave a thumbs up to my question mark thing. It's weird. Yeah, cool. So this how it is. Yeah. Fuck, what do I do now? Okay.
This is how it is.
This
This is how
exceeded the
it is.
context window. Now I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just gonna sit down real
You
quick.
just went to
Yeah.
the moon. Now it's time to go to Mars.
Yeah,
Now you journal.
yeah,
Now you light up a cigar and it savor the
yeah.
moment.
I hope I don't piss him off or anything in the future. I hope I live up to the expectation. I hope I do well.
I have no doubt that
You
you
will.
will, because you've already been doing that like
you
a
know you're
banger.
doing.
But I don't
Exceeded
know what we're
boundary
gonna talk.
conditions.
How many minutes did you get of Elon on your
Yeah,
show?
man.
That's pretty good.
What are we gonna do tomorrow? I don't know.
It's only Monday.
I'm going out to the Hoover Dam. How about a show from the Hoover
Sure,
Dam? I'm gonna go
sure. You gonna
take my Vision Pro onto a big piece of concrete.
have you tried live streaming from the Apple Vision Pro?
I can't live stream.
You can't?
I wish I could,
sure?
but that's not.
Oh, that's
Too much
weird. You
compute.
will be able
I
to
have
It's
not.
clearly.
way too much compute.
I have not found a way to live stream.
Really?
I know
I mean,
it's
the
coming. I know it.
in-X feature, right? Like through X, don't they have like a browser or something? How does the X
Oh
work
no,
in the
no,
Apple Vision
the
Pro?
audio, yes, but not the light field because the camera's capturing the light field. I want to live stream that.
And do you?
That's what you
Well,
want to be
okay,
able
cool. I
to
understand.
live stream.
So it could only ever capture the camera thing. It can't capture
Camera.
the computed, the digital. Like it can't take the digital twin and stream that into the X platform as a live stream. Is that what you
Yeah, not
mean?
yet.
Yeah. Okay.
He is what he's saying.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet,
Wait a
but you
minute.
know it's coming within
Yeah.
days, right? Come on.
Yeah.
The camera is so
It's a
cool
mosquito there. Yeah.
as a capture device that they've got to be thinking of live streaming this thing. Come on.
Hey, Robert, what would be the advantage of sharing the twin rather than just the cameras? Besides it being cool.
The cameras are building